Welcome to the Modern Psychedelics podcast. Thank you so much for being here and choosing to spend some time with me today. I'm your host, Lana. This is the place where we explore how modern humans can work with psychedelics and plant medicine to engage more deeply with life. You can expect balanced and grounded conversations around therapeutic, spiritual, and recreational containers. All right, let's journey. When it comes to psychedelics, my roots are actually in rave culture. It was the rave scene, electronic music, and festivals that introduced me to the world of altered states. The dance floor is my home just as much as the ceremony room is, and MDMA is my medicine just as much as ayahuasca and iboga are. And I am getting older, yet I refuse to stop going to raves. But there are obviously neurotoxicity issues to be aware of with MDMA. And I'm all about partying safe and smart. So there are some rules that I follow, such as absolutely no alcohol. I hydrate really hard with electrolytes. And my newest discovery is Roll Kit. Roll Kit makes it possible for me to keep partying without the awful come down. This is just a brilliant product. Roll Kit is a supplement packet that provides the most complete protection against the side effects of MDMA for a better week ahead. It's made in a CGMP compliant facility in New York, and they donate 20% of sales to MAPS. Roll Kit is backed by research, and research shows that timing matters. That's why each Roll Kit includes 3 timed packets. So you take a packet of supplements before, during, and after your roll. The formulation includes antioxidants and minerals which work together to exert protection against neurotoxic side effects. It also helps to avoid serotonin deficits and support its generation. I have been using Roll Kit for over 6 months now, and I have noticed a huge difference in my mood, energy, and bounce back after a roll. Gone are the days when it would take me literally up to 2 weeks to bounce back. There truly is a way to party smart and safe, and Roll Kit is a key ingredient in my Rave Mama toolkit. I no longer need to buy a bunch of supplements separately. I can just use Roll Kit, though I do like to supplement with additional ALA for about a week after a roll. So if you're all about raving smart and safe or using MDMA responsibly, get yourself some Roll Kits today and grab some for your rave fam too. Visit rollkit.net and use Lana at checkout to save 10%. So that's Rollkit, ROLLKIT.net, and use Lana, LANA, at checkout to save 10%. Rollkit.net. So stay safe, be smart, and have fun out there. Hello and welcome back, everyone. So nice to have you here. Today is the highly anticipated part 2 of my Shipibo Ayahuasca ceremonies. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1. If you didn't listen to that one yet, I suggest you pause this one and go back and listen to episode 60, which covers part 1, which is the first and second ceremonies of my first Shipibo Ayahuasca experience. So just to catch you up, this was my first time experiencing the Shipibo medicine, not ayahuasca, but the first time experiencing Shipibo. It was very beautiful. It was very powerful. And after I share about my third ceremony today and the rest of the retreat, I'm going to give a very honest and raw review of Reunion in Costa Rica, which is where I had this experience. So we left on day 5, which was the day after the second ceremony. Oh my gosh. So I was like feeling so good at this point. The day was pretty relaxed with not too much programming. We did have a sharing circle, which was really interesting. It was actually really powerful to see like how people had transformed from day 1 to day 5, like 2 ceremonies in, how much people have gained already, to hear their insights. I always love the sharing circle. And it was also really cool to see in what a different place people were from one another. It's all okay and it's all welcome and none of it is right or wrong. Some people like me were like completely blissed out and feeling amazing. Some people were really confused. A few people were pretty angry. It's all good. But yeah, we had that sharing circle to check in. And then after that, we actually had silent time in the evening to ourselves, which I really liked. All of the programming at Reunion was like really intentional. I appreciated that. So the third ceremony was on day 6. So This is going to seem random, but I have to mention lunch on this day. So at lunch, they served up some kale for us. This is important to the story later on. So as I was like making my bowl of food, I heard a voice in my head be like, that kale is not a good idea and I shouldn't eat it. Yet I like loaded it up on my plate and ate it. And yeah, more on that later. So there was this really powerful embodiment workshop with Tanmaya on this day. I do want to share a little bit about this one because it was really powerful. Oh my gosh. So we did a bunch of like dance therapy. Like it wasn't really ecstatic dance, but it was ecstatic dance. We just danced a lot, which I love to do. Dance is my medicine. Really got us out of the mind and into the body. And then after that, she had us write out our vision for ourselves in the next year, which is like, okay, whatever. So many people do that or have done that. But she really took it to the next level with us. Once we wrote our vision out, we were put into groups of 3 and she would play a song and each person had a chance to basically take what they wrote and embody it and perform it for their little group. And as we were performing our a year from now embodiment, the people in our group would like write down a couple of words that really represented what they were seeing. So like maybe like feminine or flowing or respectful or grounded or connected or whatever. People would write down what they got a sense of from us when they watched us perform. And then we would receive those papers and circle the words that we really liked. And then we would take those words and create poems out of them. And I really enjoy this because I'm not someone who does written work very much. And I don't really believe in my ability to do it. But I wrote this poem and I started it during this workshop and I reworked it after. But I want to share it with you guys because I really love it. And I think it really encompasses like where my energy was at and how much I was gaining from this medicine experiences. So this is my poem that I want to share with you guys. It's called I Am Just As I Am. Listening to the sounds of the ocean, deeply feeling my waves within. The soft breeze and steady land hold me through this. I hear, I listen, I learn. How does a flower blossom? It just does. How does a tree remain grounded and wise? It just does. How does the water flow and cleanse? It just does. How is a woman beautiful and free? She just is. Beauty exists in simply being, never in trying. Reverence comes from deep love and gratitude. Service is sharing your fruits while firmly rooted. Health is achieved when the body's innate intelligence is listened to. I bow to the medicine of Mother Earth, transmuting her wisdom through my senses. I surrender the mind instead. I hear, I see, I taste, I smell, I feel, I know. Thank you for teaching me how to truly live in your perfect creation, to embody my true nature through you. You ask me to be reborn again and again, just as you are, just as I am. So I love my little poem. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it really encompasses just where I was at this point in the process and just like how connected I felt to nature and the earth and to myself and how at peace I was. So yeah, that was the workshop that day. And it was really meaningful to me. It was the best workshop I've ever been to. So at this point, I think I mentioned in the last episode, I was still experiencing some body aches and pains from like recovering from my Western lifestyle. And even though I was going to the movement classes every morning, I was still like feeling some residual pain. Dylan, one of the facilitators, lent me his massage gun, which is like such a simple thing, but it honestly made me feel like so taken care of in that moment. Yeah, he really helped me out there. And I had like a little sunset yoga massage gun session in the yogashala as the sun was setting with like the ocean in the background, like preparing for ceremony. And it was beautiful. Oh my God. The sunsets every night were insane. Oh my gosh. I love that beach. So yeah, I was just like trying to take care of myself, wanting to take care of myself before this last ceremony. And I mentioned in the previous episode, the last ceremony for us is what is called the Arcana ceremony. So this is for protection, since the Maestras have gone in and shared their beautiful Icaros with us and infused us with all this beautiful, loving energy and like given us basically like spiritual surgery, the ayahuasca and the Maestras and the Icaros. This Arcana ceremony is to stitch us back up and to keep us safe and protected as we go back into the world and to protect our newly found energy. That's what the purpose of this ceremony was. This is the first time I've been in a series of ceremonies where I actually went in very open and I didn't feel very rigid. So my intention for this ceremony was informed by what I learned in the last ceremony about the heart and the gut speaking to each other and about this whole I don't trust myself. I don't trust my gut. So my intention for this ceremony was help me heal my gut so that I can trust myself and show me health. During the ceremony, I basically almost fell asleep after the first cup. And I had like really sweet ayahuasca waking dreams. If you've ever had this medicine, you know what that's like. You're asleep, you're awake, and it's just like very peaceful. And then, I don't know, I felt defeated because I wasn't feeling the effects of the medicine very much. And like the last ceremony for me was just so powerful that I was like, I don't know, I was disappointed. So I worked up the courage to have a second cup, which like really took me probably 30 minutes to do. Like it takes so much. Like the more you drink ayahuasca, the worse it tastes. I'm sorry, I love this medicine and I respect it, but oh my gosh, does it taste awful? And like every cup is just like so much worse than the one before. And I think this is ayahuasca's way of being like, are you still committed to me? Are you still devoted to me? Are you sure you want to keep doing this? And it's like a way to keep the medicine safe. Like it's not easy to get to it. So anyways, I had my second cup and eventually I purged, vomited, and what came up? The fucking kale. Like completely undigested from my lunch, like just chunks of kale. Sorry to be graphic, but that's my truth. And I was like, okay, message received. I went back to my intention to show me how like kale obviously does not agree with me, period. And yeah, I got like kind of some teaching around like to understand the foods that don't agree with me. All I have to do is listen to my body. That morning or that afternoon, I heard my body say, you shouldn't eat that. And what did I do? I ate it anyways. So the medicine was telling me like, you can hear your body, but you're not listening to it. Health is actually listening to your body. The body always is speaking to you. And the body has so much to tell you. Again, like, yes, things that I've already known, but I think the ayahuasca medicine has a very interesting way of teaching us these things so that we don't forget it, like with the taste of the kale coming back up. Like that's a lesson learned right there. Listen to your body. When you hear it, actually listen to it. So just like laying back, even though we're supposed to be sitting up in the Shipibo ceremony, I laid back and I was just like stroking my belly and my heart. And again, I could really just feel like the intelligence in my body and how it's always communicating with me and how I don't always listen to it and how I'm missing out on so much power by not listening to it. And I was sensing that the body is always able to like direct me and give me an answer. So you guys know about like the chakras in the body, right? Like each chakra in the body plays a different role, right? So like our solar plexus is all about like confidence and power and how we hold ourselves in the world and how we give our power away or don't give our power away. That's the function of the solar plexus. Like all these different systems in the body are there for a reason, and we are always being guided by the body. Wow, that was huge for me because I've just been like reflecting on my journey with plant medicine over the years, like throat chakra, using your voice to speak your truth. I've been on such a journey with that with the podcast and medicine. heart chakra. Like I was so heartbroken for so long that I wasn't even able to like hear my heart or live from my heart. And I've gone on this beautiful heart healing journey where just even ayahuasca confirmed to me that my heart's perfect now. And I feel that. And I feel like I'm really like living my life from my heart. And now I'm about to go on this like gut healing journey, which is so cool. I love it. Getting like the little pieces of the healing journey. And I think when all of these systems are working and operating is like when we're basically able to be superhumans and listen to the intelligence of the body. So yeah, huge insight and awareness there. So then I started to like get some introspection around food. I'm going to be really vulnerable here. Like this is probably the thing I struggle with the most in my life. And I think like when people see me, I'm not like petite, but I'm not like a very large human. So I think people are very like surprised to hear that food is something I struggle with, but I absolutely do. I would say that's definitely something in my life that I have not been able to figure out yet. And I really struggle with like, what should I eat? How much should I eat? Like how to have a healthy relationship with food. I definitely turn to sweet and overeating when I'm wanting to numb out and stuff. So yeah, introspection into food was something that happened during the ceremony for me. And one of the main things that I was learning about was like the importance of knowing where your food is coming from. The importance of knowing where my food is coming from. Because to know where my food comes from is actually to connect with nature. And if you guys have been following my Iboga journey, the huge thing about the Iboga journey for me has been to live with accordance to nature and to go to nature for the answers to everything. So this was a missing piece for sure. So this was interesting. So I was seeing some like visions of these like discount grocery stores during the ceremony, which like I've shopped at many times in my life. I still shop at because I'm just somehow always living on a budget and trying to save money. And sometimes I definitely feel like, okay, I'm going to not spend as much on food this month so that I can do other things. I don't want to like cast any shame or hate on like these discount grocery stores or like start a whole political conversation around why they exist and food affordability issues and how we even got here in the first place. Like I want to just acknowledge that's like a very fucking real issue, like food affordability and prices and like the reason for these existing. But that wasn't the point of this vision. The point of this vision was I was seeing the energy inside of these like discount grocery stores. My like go-to here in Canada is called No Frills. That's the one that I'll usually go to if I'm trying to save on food. And I saw like inside of this grocery store that this energy had a sense of like a lack of respect and connection to the food because that wasn't the priority. The priority is the cheapest price and like to produce the food and to get the food to people in a way that just prioritizes the price. Nothing else matters as much. So the main message for me here was that being connected to nature, the way of nature, means knowing where your food comes from. And it's not about like going to bougie grocery stores or anything like that. It's just about like knowing where my food is coming from. So for me, I decided in that ceremony right there that like part of my integration and homework is going to be to research some community supported agriculture boxes when I get home, to get deliveries from local farms, and to really like look at my budget and my finances so that I can prioritize this connection to food a little bit more than I have been. That looks like cooking and working with local and seasonal ingredients and having more fun with it. And yeah, I think this is really something that like I've always known, and like I've had moments of time of prioritizing this, but it has never really fully stuck. So I'm excited to see how it goes from here, and just like understanding the connection between food as a way to connect with nature, as a way to connect with my nature, as a way to connect with myself. So then as the ceremony went on, I was starting to like enter the ayahuasca realms again, like very visionary. Wasn't quite as strong as the first night, but I started to feel very sick. after I received the Icaros from the maestra. So this was closer to the end of the ceremony. And I was laying down, but the medicine was like, go to the bathroom. Get thee to a toilet, basically. And I was like, okay. But I couldn't even sit up, let alone get up. So I like got my like red light flashlight and asked for help. And Michael, one of the helpers, came over and he struggled to get me up, not because of him, but because of me. Like I was just like comatose and unable to put any effort into getting myself up. So then Miriana came and they like both had to help me get up. This was a very humbling moment for me. And we took a very humbling walk to the bathroom together. They both had to support me and take me all the way to the toilet seat. And that's because I was seeing fractals everywhere. I could barely connect to my body, but I somehow managed to put one foot in front of the other and get to the bathroom. And I don't want to get into the details of what happened in that bathroom, but let's just say that Kale and I are not friends. And I got that message very clearly. Yeah. Yeah, that was like, kale is not for you. And like, it wasn't about the kale. It was about listen to your body, right? So when I got back to my mat, I went back to my intention, show me health. And instantly I got this message that was like, the ocean is good for you, which is so random. I spent 6 weeks in Costa Rica during this trip and I was really reconnecting with the ocean during this trip. And I don't know, I've developed this I'm like processing this live as I'm saying it, but I almost developed this since my teenage years, this like hipster ego identity as like this like cool Pacific Northwest forest person. I even went and moved out to Vancouver in the Pacific Northwest and I just like wasn't feeling it. I moved right back. It just like wasn't resonating. And now I know that like, yeah, the ocean is probably better for me. Not just ocean, but like water that I can swim in, like actually going into the water and putting my head under and like the cleansing of the ocean. Yeah, I was really reconnecting with that. So yeah, I was saying like, the ocean is good for you. You're a mermaid, not a forest fairy. Reconsider your priorities. And then I saw this beautiful vision. Oh my gosh, the visuals were so beautiful. It was just so many beautiful treasures during this part of my ceremony, but one in particular. So I saw this beautiful woman, like so empowered, so stunning. And she had all these like fractals of light around her and like rainbows. And they were representing like her treasures and her gifts, right? And kind of like teaching me that like all of us humans have these treasures and gifts to offer. And they're also different from one another, right? But we all have these treasures and these gifts. And I was like, okay, like what are my treasures and my gifts? And she actually was like pointing to me exploring like my sexuality and my femininity, that there's something there for me that I haven't like explored yet. And that was like really cheeky and like a wink of like, let that out more. I think I've been like on my healing journey for the past 4 years. I've really like stifled that part of myself. And I think it's time for it to come out. So here's my not so secret. The number one tool in my toolkit, the thing that has changed my life for the better the most, aside from psychedelics, of course, is not therapy. It's not breath work. It's not meditation. It's not even the yoga I've been doing for 15 years. It's coaching. Because coaching is the most actionable tool that I have come across. A few years ago, I fired my therapist and hired a coach, and working with a coach helped me start moving in the direction I wanted to move. And I finally stopped feeling stuck. I fell so in love with coaching, even though I wanted to become a therapist at that time. I decided instead to get trained and certified as a professional coach. As a psychedelics informed life coach, I work with people who are on the psychedelic path, which is probably you if you're listening to this podcast. The Global Coaching Client Study from the International Coaching Federation shows most clients who work with a professional coach report improved work performance, more growth and opportunities, greater self-confidence, enhanced relationships, more effective communication skills, better work and life balance, and an improvement in wellness. According to the same study, 99% of people who were polled said that they were somewhat or very satisfied with the overall coaching experience. Coaching works. I see similar results amongst my clients every week. You can actually read their beautiful in-depth testimonials on my website at modernpsychedelics.net. Along with being psychedelics informed, my style is process oriented. We live in this outcome obsessed world where our default mode is to live life for the destination or the end result. But I have come to understand that the gifts are actually in the journey, and that's where we grow and learn and enjoy life the most. So that's why I equip my clients with tools and skills for the long game of life and the long game of medicine work. I'm currently onboarding new one-on-one clients into my coaching practice. So if this sounds like it would be supportive for where you're at, get in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. And you can click on the link in the show notes or head to modernpsychedelics.net/coaching. There's lots of info there for you along with those testimonials. I can't wait to connect with you. That's modernpsychedelics.net/coaching. Okay, let's go back to the episode. The other thing that I was taught with this vision, so if you guys listen to my Boga episode, one of the things I healed with that was this like constant need to compare myself to others. What this vision was teaching me actually was we all have these treasures and gifts. When we like try to be like someone else, when we try to be anyone other than ourselves, we're actually taking people's treasures and gifts from them. We're actually saying like, oh, you have something that I like and I'm going to take it from you and I'm going to make it my own. And like, oh, I'm so guilty of doing that in like the first 31 years of my life. And then the next part of that is also like protecting your treasures and your gifts from being taken by other people. And I think that's like obviously so important for everyone, but also just like being on the medicine path. And as your gifts and treasures come out more, truly holding them for yourself and knowing that they're yours and protecting them. I actually made like a mental note to myself to speak to Mariana the next day, which I did because she was someone who I saw as like very beautiful, empowered, and talented, like the voice of an angel. She is like very musically talented. And I was like, that looks like someone who knows how to be in her power and like allow her gifts and treasures to shine while also protecting herself. So I actually had a conversation with her the next day around protection. And yeah, that's something that I'm definitely implementing as someone who like is sharing my voice with the world publicly. So yeah, that was another really, just so many treasures from this ceremony. So many good ones. I'm sure there was so many others that I'm forgetting. I'm trying to just like hit the highlights here. So without getting into the details, because this one's a bit personal, there's this situation in my life that I have a gut feeling about and have had a gut feeling about for a long time, but I haven't trusted myself on it to act on it. So the medicine was really guiding me to follow my heart and to trust my gut about this and showing me like, I know you're scared, but like, no matter what happens, you're protected. Like you can share your truth. You can lay it out. You can ask for what you want in life. And no matter what happens, like you have yourself, you have medicine, you have the earth, like you have so much holding you and protecting you. So that was really beautiful. And the other thing I was getting into in the ceremony was just my devotion to the medicine path. And I think that actually comes across in that poem that I shared with you guys, because what that workshop was for me was actually about like embodying the medicine path and moving even more deeply into this. It was just like this beautiful knowing that I'm on my path, the path of love, the path of nature, the path of being in service to the earth, and like also being very new to this and like being like a new devotee to this and like really learning my way with this. But I know I'm on my path. I know this is what feels right to me and what I've been looking for my whole life. The other thing that came to me was this like realization that I'm in such a place to walk this life with someone and that I'm like ready for love. And I don't mean just like, oh my God, I'm ready for a boyfriend. I'm ready for like a big, beautiful love. Like I'm so ready for it. And like, even when it comes to partnership, I don't have to rely on anyone other than myself. It's not about like feeling complete by someone else, which is where I was in previous relationships. It's about like, oh my God, life is so beautiful. This existence is beautiful. This like earth is beautiful. Life is beautiful. I just want someone to share it with. Like that's where it's coming from now. And that's how I know that I feel just so ready for it. And I'm excited for it. So that's something that I think I haven't been able to say in like at least 4 years, that I really feel ready to like open my heart to someone. This was nearing to the end of the ceremony. So in Shipibo ceremonies, it's traditional that they don't allow instruments. It's just the Icaros. The maestras and these facilitators work so closely with them and have developed a trust with them over many years. They did allow them to play a few songs for us. Wow. Carrie, Jessica, Mariana, and Dylan, I believe, all shared some songs with us, and they blew me away with how beautiful they were. And at one point, so I was sitting up to receive their music, and at one point, I had no control over my body, but I just looked over and my arms were reaching up and like started flapping like wings. And I was like, oh my gosh, spreading my wings. It was really beautiful. And I was like not consciously doing that at all. It was like purely the music moving me and guiding me. And I remember like Dylan's song in particular was really beautiful. And I saw him at the end of the ceremony and I was like, thank you so much for sharing your song with us, because I feel like I've gotten to understand who you are and what your journey with the medicine has been like. And oh my gosh, I saw this vision of all of the facilitators. Like at this point, I was just like, this is the best place ever. I was so in love with this reunion experience, and I saw this vision. I was really feeling into how much love and respect and reverence these facilitators have, the team that they've built for the medicine. And I saw this vision of all of them in the sky flying as birds. And it was like, the message was like, they're all individual birds, but they know that together they're stronger. They're stronger together. And they were all just like flying through the sky and like guided by the medicine. And then I got up and I went to find Tim, who is the person who reached out to Modern Psychedelics and invited me. And I was like, I love you. Like, thank you so much for inviting me. This has been so beautiful and so meaningful. And I gave him a big hug and I told him about my vision. And yeah, I just felt like really connected to not just the medicine, but this space in particular. It was just like so much reverence and respect. And I know I keep saying that because the reverence and respect was a big teaching for me here, but I was also learning about reverence and respect by being in a space that had so much reverence and respect. Oh my gosh. Yeah. After the facilitators shared their music, I went outside. I just wanted to be outside in the grass and like, I just wanted to be on the earth. So I was actually just like on all fours with like my feet and my hands just all up in the grass. I was probably just doing that for a while and everyone else cleared out. And then all of the facilitators and Tanmaya came over and I was like, I love you guys so much. And we shared like a really nice moment. And after that, I was like laying out on the grass in star pose, like a star. And Tin Maya came and joined me. I was like looking up at the sky. I was like, oh my God. And I started laughing because what do people usually think when they look up at the sky? They're like, oh, we're so insignificant here. Like, oh, we're so tiny. We're so insignificant. And I started laughing because I was like, oh my God, that's so wrong. I'm sorry, but that's so wrong. We're so significant. Out of all of the possibility in the universe and the multiverse and all of the planets and all of the stars and everything out there, like, we're here on the dopest fucking most beautiful planet ever. Like, can you even just like take in this like ocean and these trees and these birds and these animals and this grass and this human body and like this food? Like, we're just in the best place ever. And we're so incredibly significant. And this earth is incredibly significant. And this life is incredibly significant. This like existence is incredibly significant. So that was what I was getting. And so I was like laying on the grass, literally like in between the skies, the heavens, the universe, and earth. And I was like, wow, like, yeah, humans are the connection between the two. And we're exactly where we're meant to be, between the stars and the earth. And yeah, Tin Maya came to join me, and we were both just, wow, in awe at the experience we just went through of sitting with these powerful matriarchs, these maestras from Peru who came to share their songs and their medicine and their culture with us. We were just both in awe at this and talking about how lucky we were to experience this. And we saw like a handful of shooting stars. It was actually pretty cool. I think we saw like 6 or 7 shooting stars. So she eventually left. And I don't know why, but no one else like decided to sleep in the temple but me. All 3 ceremonies. I absolutely loved it. I was, the temple is netted, but it is open air. So you can hear the sounds of the waves all night. It's so soothing. And then in the morning, you're just like cradled by the sounds of the birds. So peaceful. And honestly, I just felt like so happy to be alive. I was like, this is life. Like, we get to live life. So overall, my experience with the Shipibo medicine was so incredibly beautiful. It was definitely challenging at points. It was filled with so many treasures and gems. Learned so much. I feel like I've really unlocked a new femininity to myself. I spent the next 5 weeks in Costa Rica. I purchased an entire new wardrobe after this experience that's like feminine, a little more like sexy, a little more flowy and soft. And I just really feel that I'm like stepping into this identity as a woman that I haven't stepped into before. And yeah, it's also a month later, and like the gut healing journey is going really well so far. I have been avoiding gluten and dairy, or like minimizing them a lot since then. And I'm going to be working with a nutritionist to go on like a legit gut healing journey and just like learning to trust myself more and noticing where I'm not trusting myself. So yeah, this was like an incredibly profound experience for me with ayahuasca. And I'm even thinking of doing like a proper Shipibo diet in Peru and the Amazon one day. And that's a whole other thing. Yeah, that's that. Oh, I'll just touch quickly on like day 7, the last day. So we had like a beautiful group sharing, closing circle. Oh my gosh. Wow. I can like a few like very significant transformations come to mind that I don't want to share because, to protect people's privacy. But yeah, it was really powerful, not just for me, but for a lot of the people that were there. And then we had a closing circle where we got our intentions back, and we had a closing fire with mapacho, and we threw the mapacho and our intentions into the fire and really like opened up a new chapter. It was a beautiful experience, and I can honestly say that I'm definitely not done with ayahuasca. And for now, it's a matter of learning to manage both iboga and ayahuasca. I feel like I'm not ready to fully commit to one or the other yet. Rather, it's about learning how to work with both. And I'm definitely being called to more Shipibo in my life. I'm going to just spend some time now to give you guys a really honest review of reunion. Like I said at the beginning, I was really skeptical. I had walls up. I had my guards up, especially because I knew that I would be sharing this experience with my audience. For me, it's really important to send people places that feel in integrity with me, which is why I don't share. I pretty much don't interview anyone from a retreat center who represents a retreat center unless I fully trust them, because I don't want you guys to hear someone on my podcast and go somewhere and not have a good experience and not be safe and not go to a place that has reverence and respect. Like, I take this very seriously, even up until probably halfway through, I was still a little guarded. Like, I was open to the experience, but I was very carefully watching everyone and everything. I kept thinking to myself, would I feel good sending someone from my community here? And I can honestly say that this experience at reunion absolutely blew me away. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 15. I'm not kidding you guys. There was just so much love and care and respect in this space, not to mention the actual physical space, but I'm talking about the space that was created by the facilitators, the way that the medicine was handled, and just the overall programming. One thing I want to highlight, it was narrative neutral. That's something very important that I look for, is a narrative neutral space, meaning that they're not shoving spirituality concepts from New Age spirituality or any type of religion down your throat. Narrative neutral to me means that your experience is your own and you create the meaning from your experience. No one else does. And I can say that reunion is a space that did that from what I saw. I'm going to review the programming, the facilitators, and the food and accommodation for you guys. So the programming, the way that the week went, everything that was offered to us, the structure, the flow, all the aspects. It was just so intentional. Honestly, you're busy some of the days, but there was a good balance of beneficial programming, like the intention setting workshops, the workshops with Tenmaya, and they have a rotating roster of workshop facilitators. So, if Tenmaya is the standard, then I can say that anyone who is stepping on these grounds, who's vetted by Karina, Julian, Tim, Mariana, Dylan, is going to be of that caliber. The workshops really were the thread that wove the ceremonies together. I can't really imagine this experience without them. And they really allowed me to go into each ceremony with an even stronger intention for myself. Our group size was 17, which was great. Honestly, it was a pretty small group. Where I sit in ceremony in Canada, we have groups of 20, and the ceremony room is a fraction of the size. So our group size was 17. I spoke with one of the facilitators. They said they want to cap it at 35, which is phenomenal for the size of the property and the size of that temple. Somewhere like Rhythmia, they have 100 people, I think, at these retreats. So really nice group size. They have a great focus on integration. So there was an integration workshop. There's emails with integration guidance and homework that you receive. And then there's also group calls once a month for people who have been to reunion before. You can hop on integration calls when you go back home. So the facilitators, oh my gosh, so much love in my heart for these humans. I spent a lot of time with them. I was just constantly asking them questions. I really wanted to get to know them all, get to know their stories, their journeys with the medicine. And wow, such beautiful souls, so devoted to the medicine path. Wow. So Julian and Karina are the senior program directors. Then we have Tim, who's also a program director. And then Mariana and Dylan are the facilitators. And Carrie is also a facilitator, and Michael was there also supporting. Wow, such a beautiful team. It's a trauma-informed team. The way that they guided people, I really struggled during this experience, as I shared with you guys, and their guidance was very gentle and soft and guided by medicine. and it was narrative neutral. There was never a time when I heard any of the facilitators inserting meaning onto someone else's journey. There was none of that. There was none of like, oh, this meant that or it meant that. It was like very narrative neutral. So I just want to say thank you to all of the facilitators, including Jessica, who travels with the Maestas, for creating such a beautiful space. And I even spoke to some of the staff members because so Reunion's like a huge operation. Like it used to be a hotel that got renovated. They have, I think, over 100 staff. So I actually spoke with some of them, and the staff are almost all Costa Ricans. And I asked them, like, how do you like working? Are you happy here? And, they all seem to really like it. Seems like a nice place to work. And lastly, I want to talk about the food and accommodation. So it's definitely on the side of luxury, but since it's a not-for-profit center, you're not going to be paying luxury prices. The food is mostly organic. It's very fresh. It's made with lots of love. And honestly, for like the ayahuasca diet, which is really restrictive, the food was delicious. It was good. They're also very like intentional about mindful eating. We do like a blessing as a group before each dinner, which I really liked. I feel like I learned so much from like Julian and some of the other facilitators just about like mindful eating and chewing. And these are practices that I've really taken with me after this experience. It's a very eco-friendly, eco-conscious center. From like the shampoo and conditioner and cleaning products that they use. There's tons of water filling stations. They don't allow single-use plastic. Their land stewardship is beautiful. Everyone is encouraged to collect trash on the beach. There's like buckets on the beach entrance that you can use to collect trash. And the beach was one of the cleanest I've ever seen. It was really beautiful. The rooms were very comfortable. Stylish, minimal and stylish. The best part is that it's like 50 steps from the beach. I spent so much time in the water. Like the water with the ayahuasca medicine really went well together. I went swimming like twice a day at least. And like I said, it's a beachfront property. There's a yoga shala right on the beach. Like you're just like doing yoga in the ocean breeze, watching the ocean. Feels very expansive and spacious and relaxing and peaceful. There's like a beachside kind of lounge area. There's meditation huts. There's just a lot of space to explore, to be, to meditate, to reflect. It's a very beautiful space. That's all I'm going to say about that. I am going to be having Karina and Julian on the podcast. So they're going to be telling us more about the intentions behind Reunion, their ethos, their philosophy, how they operate. But what I do want you guys to know that they are a not-for-profit, meaning that the steward of this project at Reunion, Brad, he is not taking any money home from this. None. None of the money is for profit. They're very transparent about where their profits go, which I think says a lot. And they also have 3 separate scholarship funds. They have the Indigenous Wisdom Keepers Fund. They have the scholarship program for people who want to visit, and then the Replenish Ayahuasca project. So some of the profits goes towards that. And the other thing to know is that they are working with these direct lineages that I mentioned. So Shipibo, Huni Queen, and Quechua wisdom keepers. There may be others that I'm missing there. And then they also do a psilocybin retreat as well, which is guided by their facilitation teams. If you guys are curious about Reunion, you can check out their website and their programming for all of their dates. They have retreats almost every month. If you do get in touch with their team, let them know that you heard about them through Modern Psychedelics, and there's a code that you can use. And it's really important that if you heard about Reunion through this podcast, that you use this code, because I actually have a scholarship fund in collaboration with Reunion. So every time that code is used, $100 gets put into a scholarship fund to send someone from the community who is in financial need to Reunion. So definitely make sure you're using that code if you're booking with Reunion. I'm a proud ambassador with them. I'm super happy to be working with them. It's very aligned. So if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. As you guys know, I'm always answering emails and DMs. If you have any questions that I didn't answer here, just reach out and I will answer you. You can DM me at Modern Psychedelics on Instagram or send me an email, hello@modernpsychedelics.net. Really excited for you if you choose to experience ayahuasca or mushrooms at this very special place. And look out for the interview with Karina and Julian coming soon. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening and take good care. Bye. This episode is produced in collaboration with Film with Integrity. They are a values-forward production studio, and their tagline is quality content crafted with care. And from my experience working with their team, that is certainly true. You can just tell that everything they put out into the world has that human touch from the heart. They truly have that something special that you won't find in most production houses, which is exactly why their work stands out from the crowd. I'm sitting in their video podcast studio as we record this, and that's one of the services they offer. This includes end-to-end production from concept to content. Film with Integrity also does event video, documentary series, commercial and marketing videos, all filmed with integrity, of course. Their home base is here in Toronto, and they work with many American and international clients on productions around the world. If you are working on a project that deserves that quality of production and content without sacrificing heart and soul, visit filmwithintegrity.com to check out their beautiful work and to get in touch with their beautiful team. That's filmwithintegrity.com, and I've linked that for you in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to and supporting the show. To stay in touch, sign up for my mailing list, which can be found in the show notes or on modernpsychedelics.net. If this episode sparked something within, please let me know by leaving a review of the Modern Psychedelics podcast on Apple and Spotify. This really helps to share these messages with those who need them, which is the whole reason why I do what I do. And if you haven't already, come join the ongoing conversation over on Instagram with other beautiful souls. We have an incredible and conscious community over at the handle Modern Psychedelics. And don't forget that the work begins after you come back down to earth. And I'm standing shoulder to shoulder, doing it with you.